Hey guys, hope you're all having a great Friday. I want to welcome you to Blue Eyes Banter, and this is the second episode of 40K Fridays. Now, what we're going to talk about today, in brief, is the Ultramarines movie. Now, for all 40K players out there, you guys have probably already seen it. Some of you probably hate it, some of you probably love it. Me, I think it's pretty good. The story could have been better, but for a first go around for a Games Workshop movie, I gotta say they probably hit one out of the park. A lot of people will disagree with me. A lot of people might agree with me. Regardless, it's pretty damn badass. Like, we finally got a 40K movie. Now, with that being said, let me just tell you the gist of this story in a nutshell. Captain's on his ship. They get a distress signal. They go to the planet. Shit happens at the planet. Captain fights a demon. Falls off a cliff. Captain turns to chaos, but you don't know that until the end. He shows up halfway through to save everybody's asses from the onslaught of Chaos Space Marines. They go back to the ship. There's a big bunch of fighting and everything inside the ship. They find out the captain's been corrupted. They kill the captain. They save the day. That's the story, without ruining too much of, the intricate details or whatnot. For the most part, the movie, the canon and the fluff is right up to par with the stories and with everything that's going on in the 40K universe. There are probably some mistakes in it, but for the most part, it's pretty bang on. The CG in the movie, it's pretty damn good. It's not like great, super, like current video games great, but it's pretty up to snuff. I can't really complain with it. They did a bang up job on like the design of the Ultramarines, their movements and everything. The sound and audio in the movie is actually pretty freaking amazing. I do recommend, if you watch it, crank the bass up on your surround sound system or your computer, turn it up nice and loud, and you get a real feel for like how the universe sounds. That's one of my biggest things that I love about the movie, is the sound in it is just phenomenal. Like, it's really, really good. Pardon me. Now in the movie, they fight the Black Legion. You don't really see any like crazy characters or anything from the Black Legion. There's no special dudes or anything like that. It's just generic Black Legion Chaos Space Marines. You do see a demon about a third of the way through it, and then the captain, who becomes corrupted by chaos near the end of the movie, turns into a demon. And one thing I do gotta point out, at the point in the movie where you find out the captain has turned into a demon, the CG for the progression of him going from a Space Marine to daemonhood is actually pretty bang on. The cutscenes from one spot to the next, you can actually tell like he's slowly turning to chaos. So one moment it's just his face. The next time you see him, parts of his armor are now changing to chaos. And then in the last about 5 to 7 minutes of the movie, when the countdown's going on and shit's starting to get really real, he turns into a full-on demon. The fight sequences in it are pretty good. They could have been better, a little bit more fluid, but for the most part, they're pretty good. I can't complain with them. I enjoy the movie. So other than that, the colors and everything in the movie for like the armor and the weapons and everything, it's pretty bang on. I have no complaints with it whatsoever. I can't watch it over and over again. The story is very, very straightforward and very, very simple. So I do hope when they do another one, and I'm pretty sure, almost 100% certain, that there's a new one coming out this year for the summertime. I have heard rumors that there will be some sort of sneak peek at Games Day this year. In North America, I don't know if they've done any sneak peeks anywhere else around the world in any Games Days, but from what I've heard from my sources, it should be due out this year, maybe a summertime release. Even possible, it might be coming out with the new Space Marine Codex, which I have also heard is going to be due out sometime in the late summer or early fall of 2013, and I do look forward to that. Lucky for me, I was actually able to find a product list of all the current models are going to be released in 2013, and there's a lot of new Space Marine stuff coming. So it almost looks like 100% certain that we're going to get some sort of new Space Marine Codex in the far future of this year. Now, getting back to the movie. The terrain and the areas in the movie, the planets, they look really good. The outline looks amazing. You can really get a feel for what the planet would actually feel like, the temperature, the climate, the terrain. You get it's really, really well done. My only knock on the movie is the actual voices. Not the voices of the people portraying the actors, but actually like the linguistics and the articulation of their language in the movie. It sounds very forced. It doesn't sound fluid at all. Even though it has a very gothic and arcane style to their language, it doesn't sound like how I sound right now, fluid. Like, you know what I mean? There seems to be small hesitations with some words and everything like that. Now, I don't know if this was done on purpose or if this is just the way it turned out, but I think that they could have tweaked the audio for the voices a little bit better, made it a little bit more smooth and fluid. There isn't a whole lot of talking in the movie. It's very just straightforward. Oh, there's a guy, shoot him. Oh, something's going on with my Vox. You know, oh, I saw something. They don't really dive too much into the 40K language, I find, and this is just my opinion. I could be completely wrong. Now, what would I give the movie out of 10? Well, it ain't no Shawshank Redemption. And it ain't no, it doesn't stand up to a lot of other movies I've watched. So for the most part, I'm going to give it like a 7.5 out of 10. The reason why, the audio is not the greatest for the voices, and they could have added a lot more fluff and built the story up a little bit more. There's points in the movie where it just seems to take way too long for the climax to build, and then once you reach the climax, it's kind of like you're let down. You do about 45 minutes of watching to watch like about a 8 minutes of them fighting in a battlefield like you would play in the game, and then there's a lull again and a really quick build up to the final sequence of events that take place in the movie. So, with that being said, 7.5 out of 10, not bad. Could have done a little bit better with the plot and the story outline and how it was laid out. But overall, not a bad movie. Do I recommend you pick it up? If you're a hardcore 40K guy, sure, try and find a copy. Watch it if you haven't. If not, you can probably watch it on YouTube or something like that. So, not a bad movie. Hopefully, the next movie they do, they go into maybe a different chapter of Space Marines. I'm almost certain they're going to use Space Marines of some chapter of some sort. It's their bread and butter for the company. It would really be nice to see them fight orcs or even Tyranids. I do know that in the Space Marine game, there's some really, really good CG, so I hope they can pull some of that out of that game and translate it into a new movie. Now, I'm pretty much done on the movie. I have nothing else to say about it. That's my review on it. I give it a thumbs up. It's pretty good. So, what next? Well, I feel like what I wanted to talk about is building your models. Now, when you're building your models, I traditionally like to cut everything off the sprues and then clean all the mold lines up, all the clip marks from where you're removing them from the sprue, and then build the model. Now, I've never really experimented with building a model after priming the sprues, if you follow me. I've never tried it before because I think it's just you're kind of doing some extra work. So what I use to when I'm building models is I use a hobby knife, I use a pair of clippers, and I use a nail file. I don't actually use like a real file when I'm cleaning up mold lines. I find that sometimes you can be left with marks, and I find a nail file is very smooth and works really, really well. So yeah, try it out. Now everybody knows how to like clip models from a sprue and everything. I prefer to clean up all my pieces before I assemble them. I find you get a better finished product, so try it out. Now, I don't really have much to say on 40K today. I will be doing another video this weekend. I do plan to do an NMM video for you guys, and if you have any other suggestions on videos, feel free to leave a comment down below. No, I'm not doing the point down thing. I said it before, and I'll say it again. Not my thing. But just feel free to leave a comment below. So yeah. What's on my plate for 40K today? I'm almost done. I have just 2 small things left to do on this Orc Battle Wagon. I still have to add the custom-made def roller. And actually, speaking of that, how I made the def roller was really, really simple. I used a glue bottle. Now, if you guys watched last 40K Fridays, I showed you this glue bottle. I had glue in it. I used the same bottle that I bought the glue from. So I'm not even spending any money to make a def roller. The only thing that I have to add to this is 2 pieces of plastic rod on each side to attach it to the front of the Battle Wagon. And of course, add some sharp tiddly bits to the front of it to make it effective, right? No point having a death roller if it's just a roller. It's not a bulldozer, it's a death roller. It's meant to impale, kill, maim, and destroy your enemy. So you gotta make it look like that. Gotta make it look evil and really, really mean. So, it's a good trick I learned. I don't know where I learned it from. It just popped into my head one day and I thought, hey, why not try it out? So, what else am I doing? I'm almost done these Ludas here. Now, another thing is I want to talk about maybe is brush selection. Now, a lot of new people out there in the hobby, they have a problem with brush selection. It's not something that is very common to talk about when you get into the hobby. You know, the guys at the stores will say you just need a standard brush and a detail brush and a fine detail brush and everything. And that's fine. That's basically the extent of it. But when I mean brush selection is I mean when you're painting your models. If you have a larger piece, don't try and paint it with a detail brush. Go get a standard brush. Try painting it with a standard brush. You're going to cover more of the model in a smaller amount of time. Now, this is pretty redundant. Most of your veterans know this and everything. But you can save a lot of time painting your models if you appropriately select a brush for the model at the time. For example, when I was base coating this Luda, now it might be really hard, I did a base coat of green, and I used War Boss green. On the green, I use a standard brush to paint that because it's a larger area, and it would save me time instead of using a detail brush. Then when I was done with the detail brush, the standard brush, sorry, to apply the camo pattern that I had on it, I used a detail brush instead of a fine detail brush because I could still get the same effect. So, when you're painting your models, try to think about what brush is going to effectively save you time, but still give you the best quality product for the final result. Another thing is that when you're using your brushes, something I like to do is I clean my brushes at the end of every single day. I use a brush cleaner that I found, and it's made by Winsor & Newton. Now this stuff is specifically made for water-based acrylics. You can probably see it's pretty dirty. It does a wonderful job of cleaning your paints out. Now I don't recommend using this to just take the paint out of your brush after you've done painting with one color because it's a chemical. It actually will affect how the paint goes on your thing. So my best advice if you're going to use this stuff is you rinse your brush out in this bottle itself and then rinse it out in warm water and let the brush dry back out. There's oils in this that will mess the paint up if you try to paint with the brush before it dries out. That's why I recommend doing it at the end of the day. So another good hint, and this stuff you can pick up at like a craft store for like $2.50. It's super, super cheap. You can't go wrong. So try it out, see if it works for you. It might help to extend the life of your brushes. I've used it on really, really old brushes, and it's actually fixed them up nice and new. So it's great. And sometimes you gotta soak them overnight. Sometimes you get too much paint in them and everything like that. So I hope you guys found this video informative. I hope you can use some of the tips in it. And let me know what you think of my review and any of my tips. And until next time, guys, I want you to keep it real. I want you to have fun. I want you to stay safe. Enjoy your hobby and do what you love. Till next time, guys, have fun playing the game, and may sixes be on your side. Till next time, don't forget to subscribe. It's Blue Eyes Banter. Peace, guys.